Hi there, Natalie with you today with a new process video for Pink Fresh Studio. And today I'm actually going to use the new Holiday Dreams collection to create a new layout. And I had an idea for a while. So you're going to see that I'm just setting everything. And I'm going to reach for my Floral Bauble stamp, a stencil, and the die. If you see my projects lately, I have been having a kick of having things hanging from the top of my layout. So it's not an exception. I love this stamp set and I thought it would be the perfect place to use it. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to heat emboss the image. I'm going to use 2 with like snow embossing powder and 2 I'm going to make them with gold embossing powder. I want the same look for 2 different colors, and you're gonna see in a little bit why. So all I'm gonna do right now is just gonna go ahead and start stamping my image. I am using actually my stamp wheel just because it's gonna help me do everything in a series first of all, and then it's gonna help me with the stenciling. So you're gonna see I'm gonna take my time. Like I said, I'm actually gonna make sure that I stamp the image very clearly. So you're gonna see that I'm gonna stamp my image twice with I'm going to emboss in ink, and then like I said, 2 of them are going to be embossed in like snow white powder, and the other 2 are going to be in like gold embossing powder. I want something really shiny and I want something really soft. That's just going to create a little bit of difference in the final look of the bubble, even though it's the same design. So I'm just going to take my time and just heat emboss, and then we're gonna get started with the colors. And like I said, I want to keep this not very monochromatic, but I want to stay true to the colors of the collection. So I'm gonna start coloring. I pull out the stencil set that comes with, well, not comes, but it coordinates with this Floral Bauble stamp set, and I'm gonna use tones of like pink and like soft kind of coral, and the same thing with the blue. I'm pulling colors from the collection. So for the pinks, I am using Ballet Slipper. I'm gonna use Cherry Blossom. I'm gonna use Begonia and Peony. Those last 3 are from the newest color inks. So I'm going to start with my stencil number 1, and that's the one that gives me the base for the flowers and also the base for the bow. I want to make sure that the bow goes along with the same color of the flowers. So very simple. I'm going to keep my flowers really soft, so I'm using Ballet Slipper and a little bit of Cherry Blossom, and I'm using Cherry Blossom for my bow. And then once I finish that, I'm going to move on to set the second stencil, and I'm actually going to use Cherry Blossom to start creating that kind of detail in the roses, and then I'm going to go with a little bit of Begonia for my bow just to make it a little bit darker. I do want to create a little bit of color variation of the same color or the same tone within the one image. So you're going to see, very simple. I'm going to speed up the process. The stencil makes it very simple to work, and actually having the sticky base too, because I don't have to hold on to the stencil. So I'm just going to take my time. I'm going to, like I said, I'm trying to keep the same, think of a tone on tone, but make it a little bit of separation between the bubble, the flowers in the bubble, and the bow. So the bow is going to be darker, and my bubble, the flowers in the bubble, are going to be lighter. Same tone. So once I have the second stencil done, I'm going to go into stencil 3, and that's going to give a little bit extra detail. For this, I'm going to use, actually, I think it's Peony, just for the flowers, just to give them that extra little pop of red. And then I'm going to go with Begonia, which is the darkest tone of the red, for my the bow, just to give them like that depthness in the part where it's tied up. Once I have that, I'm going to pull out the colors for my leaves, and that's stencil 4 and stencil 5, and I'm going to use a combination of eucalyptus, spruce tips, and evergreen. I wanted something that was going to give me a little bit of those cooler tones of greens, which are the ones in the collection, but in different tones. Again, I'm trying to play with the kind of think of a monochromatic look, not or tone on tone, but different variations of the color. So you're going to see that I'm using, for my bubble, I'm going to use eucalyptus, and then for those little holly branches that come in the stamp set, I'm going to use, one of them is going to be eucalyptus, the second one is going to be spruce tips. So I just wanted like the difference in color. Once I have that, you're gonna see that I'm gonna switch into my last stencil, and I'm actually gonna show you what I did for the second tone of my flowers. Like I said, I'm using two different colors. I am using, some of them are gonna be red, one's gonna be a gold embossed kind of pinkish red, and then one's gonna be the snow white kind of pinkish red, and then the other one is gonna be the same thing, one white embossed, one gold embossed, but they're gonna be in the blue tone. And for the blue tones, I'm actually gonna use Slumber. Again, I'm using Blue Jay and the next tone in the family. So that's gonna bring the two tones of the collection into my layer. So now that I have everything ready, I'm gonna take the die set that matches this and just cut them all apart. So I have them all ready. I'm gonna set it aside. Now here's where I need to create something where these bubbles are gonna hang from. So when looking for the paper specifically, is the one, I think is the name of the paper is O3. It is the one here that has this graphic Christmas tree in the middle and is like surrounded by all these like pines and like, you know, branches. So I'm gonna actually fussy cut, I'm gonna say probably a quarter of the paper. So you're gonna see that I'm gonna take my time. I'm just gonna, right now I'm just taking out the pieces that I want to cut because I need to separate them first, and then I'm gonna like detail them. So this probably is what took me the longest. So I sat down, put on Netflix, and just like started cutting away. I went like, I think I overcut. I ended up using quite a few of them, but I wanted them very detailed. So I just took my time. I'm going to make sure that when I fussy cut my leaves, I leave a little bit of a white offset. Just like I love the look because it actually matches that of the die cuts or the ephemera. So now that I have all my pieces ready, it's time to assemble this layout. So like I said, I want things, like I said, I've been on a kick lately, but I want the bubbles to be hanging from the top of my page. So you're gonna see that I'm gonna flip my canvas. I have a white cardstock for my background, and I'm gonna start by creating, think of it as the branches are gonna hold it, like, you know, hold my bubbles. So I'm gonna use those leaves and branches that I cut from the O3 paper to create that. And I'm gonna go a little bit towards the right of the page. It's not gonna be completely centered. I don't want this to be super centered, but you're gonna see at the end it is gonna be centered because I'm actually going to frame this layout. So, and I don't mean frame it as in like put it in a frame, actually as in like I had to like trim some of it to make sure it's centered. So all I'm gonna do is take my time, and I'm gonna create, think of it as creating a bow at the top of my layer. So I'm going to use a combination of glue just in the areas where I want the branches to start. So I'm going to glue it straight onto my base, and then I'm going to use some foam adhesive at the tip of the branch just to create a little bit of a lift, and also to be able to tuck in another one of the branches. I want the bow or those little branches to kind of span from the center all the way to around 1/2 inch from the edge of the paper. And they don't have to be symmetrical, they don't have to be even. I just want something that is going to literally anchor or a place to hang my bubbles from. So once I have like a basis, and like, you know, you're gonna see that I'm gonna add more things as I go along, because, you know, it's just like a beginning stage. I'm gonna bring the picture, and that's my niece and my nephew. Last year, we usually host Christmas here in my house, so that's one of the pictures that I took. So that's why I'm bringing the blue, because there's a lot of blue in the clothes that they're wearing. But I don't know if you can see my tree. My tree, I have bubbles or like ornaments that are like this dusky rose and like this soft teal kind of bluish tone. So that's what I'm bringing some of the pink tones into the layout, just so that I can pick up some of the colors in the back. So now that I have, like, you know, I told you where I picked up my colors, I'm actually going to start building this layout. And you're going to see, like I said, my bow or the branches that I hang on the top, I make sure that some parts of it, especially on the left, there's like a little bit extra, because I need to make sure that I camouflage that my bubbles are coming from up there. I cannot just have them flying in the sky. I need to give them a place to anchor. So I added extra leaves on the left hand side of my layout so that I can put, like, you know, my ornament there. So my idea is to have my bubbles hanging. I want the blue ones closer to the picture, so like, you know, it makes the colors pop, and then I want the pink ones kind of scattered in between, and that's where I went with the two tones of the embossing powder. The gold one, it just makes the colors look darker even though it's the same color, and the white embossing makes the colors look lighter even though, like I said, are the same color inks. And all I'm doing is just adding a little bit of foam adhesive behind the ornament and the bow, just to give them a little bit of a lift. That's about it. You're gonna see that I just wanted to make sure that when I hang them, there was a space in between them, so you can appreciate, like, you know, each bubble separately. And having the two tones of the embossing ink just creates, like, you know, that soft look. So I just really like how this turned out. So now that I have that ready, and pretty much my layout, I'm not gonna say it's done, but there's a lot going on, so it's not gonna take much more after that. So those little branches that I create when I heat emboss, you know, my bubbles, I'm just gonna add them on that bow situation that I have going at the top. Now, when I went into, like, you know, placing my picture, I realized that I needed to frame it. I needed to give it something that's just gonna make it, like, you know, separated from the background. So I backed it with one of the papers from the 6x6 paper pad, and I chose something that was green, so it kind of goes with the color of the branches that I have going on. I don't want to give it blue because I have the ornaments right next to it. I don't want to take away from the flowers. So once I have that, it comes to my favorite part, which is titles, and I struggle a lot with titles. I don't know why. So, but then I went into the ephemera, the title ephemera, and realized that there was a sentence that said presents under the tree, and they're sitting right in front of the tree. Okay, let's call it under. And then I have the word dreams, and I thought that was the perfect title. So I trimmed the presents away from the little title, and my title is gonna read for this layout, Dreams Under the Tree. I had a few of those little kind of branches that I created with the stamps. I'm gonna add it to the left of my title just to give it a little bit, to bring some of the, like, you know, the greenery onto the layout, onto the title, sorry. Once I have that, I'm going to bring one of the chipboard frames, something blue, just to make the colors of the picture pop and to actually give the picture some interest. So you're gonna see that I trim a piece of that, and I'm gonna put it on the top right corner of my photo. Once I have that, I'm going to bring a little bit of the pink that I have going on, and I found this cardstock sticker that said love, and I thought it was perfect. And then I found this little seal in the puffy sticker that had like a little branch, so I stuck it behind my picture. The Goodwill to All, it actually comes from the ephemera pack, and I added just a puffy sticker. And then I added one of the little branches that I had left over right underneath, you know, and the little cluster that I have on the top right corner of my picture. I'm going to add iridescent pearls to my layout because I wanted something that was really shiny. I didn't want to add gold because I have, like, you know, that snow white embossing. So I wanted something that was going to pick up the color. So you're going to see that I'm going to add quite a few of them. I'm going to make sure that I have some underneath the bows. I'm going to add some underneath, like, you know, in between the bubbles. And I'm just going to place them in a way that they kind of help me add a little bit of dimension. And what I mean by that is I'm going to make sure that when I put my little pearl, I kind of tuck it underneath the bow, so it kind of lifts it up a little bit and creates that beautiful movement on my page. So once I have that, I'm pretty much done. I'm gonna leave all the space underneath the Goodwill to All to add my lines with journal, and this layout is actually gonna go to my sister's album, so I'm not gonna add anything. She can write it up. The only thing that you don't see in camera, because I did it outside, is that I realized that I needed to frame this. So I cut a piece of paper. It's called Under the Tree. And I just kind of created a U. So I cut like around 1/2 inch from each side of the right and the left and the bottom of the layout and glue it onto that paper. And that's about it. I love how this turned out. Like, super soft, super delicate. Love it. As always, you can check all that I used in the description of this video. And if you have any questions, don't hesitate to contact me. I would love to help you. As always, thank you so much for joining me. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel to check more beautiful content. See you guys soon. Take care, guys.